To be, well, it's a Wednesday, is my,
Frank going to be here? I didn't hear from Frank.
I ran into him the other night. He said he was going to be here. I love the comments.
Ready, Mark? Hey, good morning, all. Welcome to the Northampton County General Purpose Authority meeting for February 5th, 2019. Mark, would you please call roll?
Yes. Mr. Anthony?
Here.
Mr. Derdinger?
Here.
Mr. Pinnabone? Absent. Mr. Kraft?
Here.
Ms. Hefner?
here.
Mr. Donchez?
Here.
Ms. Baum is excused.
Thank you, Mark. Did you actually say Kenny Kraft? I'm sorry. I blanked out.
You actually did.
All right.
thought
So,
that was-
welcome, Ken, to the GPA. Mark Chavone fulfilled his commitment to the GPA, and Kenny Kraft has been appointed in his place. So, welcome, Kenny. All right, approval of minutes. Everybody should have received the packet earlier. Everybody have a chance to review the minutes?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Thank you, Charles. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Lori. Any questions on the motion?
I
Hearing
have
none?
one question.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I was
Sure.
asking Mark before the meeting. We had elected Mark Chavone as an officer, and he's no longer here. So my question was, what do we need to do? Do we, if anything, need to do anything about that at this meeting?
You should do something, either this meeting or soon.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you need to.
I mean, it's correct as far as the minutes are, but it needs to be amended in real life.
I'd say let's address that right after the minutes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions on the minutes? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Treasurer's report.
I abstained.
That was good.
I'm sorry, Ken Kraft abstained. He wasn't here last meeting.
Paul, can we address the second assistant secretary treasurer quickly so we don't forget? And that would simply, I think, somebody needs to make a motion to appoint Ken to that.
No, nobody else wants that position? He gets a promotion first meeting.
I think
Everybody else
in the
has a
clubhouse has
position.
name.
Do we
I
really
make
know?
a
Do we really know
motion.
enough about him to?
I make a motion to replace Mark Chavone with Ken Kraft as the second assistant secretary/treasurer.
Thank you, Lori. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ron. Any questions on that motion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank
you,
you.
Lori. All right, Treasurer's report.
Mark, I'll start. I had a meeting last week with Mark and I, and we did look over the new format as the result of the county's fiscal department taking over the accounting and financing for this year. What we did is, and I'll turn it back over to Mark, is we kind of made some comparisons. We may try to tweak it as we get back. I think Mary Alice is here, too, if we have some specific questions, but it kind of transfers over pretty well. I mean, it's not as, it's a little bit confusing maybe to read out of the gate here, and we may be able to simplify it. And we're not going to have comparisons, I believe, for this year probably with the new system, so we'll have to kind of note that going forward. But for the most part, if you kind of go through it, you're going to see the same format on the general fund. The one good thing I do like the fact is that they're breaking the general fund and our other funds separate, the capital project fund. So from an accounting perspective, that's not a bad. I think it's a good idea to see each one separate. Mark, I'll let you go if there's some details you want to talk through it.
Yeah, so just for everybody's edification, the back 2 pages are the old format of what was presented. The biggest things that I would say in the new format, you're basically seeing the balance sheet, which is the top half of the page. And then when it says revenue accounts, that's essentially your P&L. So it's all presented in one report on one page, or actually it's 2 pages, but it's all kind of together. Some of the biggest changes, if you were comparing the old format to the new one, there is a hospital authority account that was in the old report. Those aren't general purpose authority funds, so they're no longer in the report. So the balance of funds is reduced by $285,092.37. So that's a big change. And then if you recall, back in, I think it was October or November, we spent some time identifying accounts that we don't need anymore,
Right.
and consolidated a bunch. So they're like the accounts won't line up line for line because we eliminated some of those. Going through the asset accounts on the general fund, the MMGPA SIP, that is the SIP funds that we'll be discussing later on today. And same with asset number 10799, the SVGPA L&D. That's the Loan and Development Fund from the previous. You'll see all of our outstanding loans, the 3 of them are on there, and I think that's pretty much the biggest changes. I don't know, Ron, if you had anything.
Yeah. No, the only maybe I would think about is when we'll try to break out the P&L if they can separately, a little cleaner, so you can see the 2 better. Maybe we talked about getting a separate sheet that Mark may put together on a couple of the details, like when you look at miscellaneous on the P&L, it shows, $500,000. Or if there's a few items that we think should be noted separately that they can't necessarily put in the accounting, we could quickly do a format each month, which would make it pretty simple for us. So.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
like the professional service
Yeah, we could
fees
break
under
that out.
the expense accounts so that
Yeah.
you can see the solicitor's fees, accounting fees, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a work in progress. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. But that's basically the financial report.
Thanks, Mark. Any questions?
No, no present.
All right. Any questions on the report? Motion to accept? Thank you, Ken. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Charles. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, invoices for payment, 3.2.
Just a quick note on that. You should have some stapled, the actual invoices. They weren't included in your packet in error.
All right.
But those are the actual invoices, and there is a spreadsheet in there summarizing all of the invoices to be paid.
On the back.
They're a total of $36,964.85.
I have a question about the PP&L payment.
Where you at, Lori?
February, it's an already paid. Is that just a one-time? Or is that like on year-to-date voices paid through the 31st? It says PP&L paid on 12/13, 18,000 utility relocation. Was that for a specific bridge? Is that cumulative? Is that?
I believe that probably would have been for a specific bridge.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's P3 related, so as those come in and they work them out per bridge.
Yeah, there will be relocations.
I guess that was the
That'll be
answer.
ongoing, right.
It's specific to each project
Right.
as it happens. It's not an ongoing amount that we pay to PPL. It's per project
Correct.
if necessary.
Correct.
All right.
And those will be accounted for in the P3 accounting in the financials
Okay,
that
thank
were
you.
presented.
Aren't you jumping ahead?
No, I'm
No, she's
looking at I'm just looking at what's in front of me.
3.2 invoices for payment, not invoices paid, which is 3.3.
It was all together.
I'll just look at the papers, all right?
You jumped ahead.
Be nice. Your first
I
day.
am,
Welcome,
I'm
Ken.
about to say, I bet you missed this.
No, not at all.
just one comment. Appreciate council breaking out P3 project versus GPA, normal business. So I appreciate that.
All of our invoices from our professional service consultants will be broken out that way.
Sure. Good. All right, any questions on 3.2 invoices to be paid? I need a motion to accept them, please.
Make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ron. Any questions on that motion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next item of business, 3.3, invoices to be paid.
Do you want me to ask my question again, or do you
Please,
mind that I
no,
went out
please,
of order?
no. You
Part of the meeting, sure.
can't just keep me on the
I
straight and narrow.
asked it before, thank you.
And this really is just informational, doesn't require any action.
Sure, but I
But
think it's...
if you have any questions,
it's informational.
let us know.
Thank you for letting me ask out of order.
Public comment. Sandra Newman? Good morning, Sandra.
You'll probably get tired of seeing me here, but I told you I wasn't going to go away. Last night, the bridge project was on the agenda for the Lower Mount Bethel Board of Supervisors meeting. And because it was on the agenda, I had cause to look back on all of my notes, which is now a file about that big. And I made a little outline of everything that's been going on or not going on for it's been like 6 months, I think, since we first met with you and Michael Amelli and a number of residents. And it was discussed that Bridge 43, 44, and 185 a request would be made to remove them from the P3 program. Shortly after that, in August, my township passed a resolution supporting the withdrawal, reiterating that this is part of a scenic byway and that it's a high-quality brown trout stream. In September, I noticed that, let me backtrack. In August 7th at the GPA meeting, you all took a motion to remove these 3 bridges, 33, 44, and 185, from the P3 program, along with some other bridges from Plainfield. And in September, there was a removal of a bridge Bridge 15 and in Lower Saucon. I guess that's the one that had some substantial damage. So there has been a bridge that has been taken out of the program. So I'm thinking that this is a possibility. But now 6 months has elapsed, and every time I pull the status reports off the computer, it says no update, no update, no update. So I guess you can tell that we're a little frustrated that this is moving so slowly. Last night I asked our engineer, how long does it take usually when you do a change order? And he said, well, it could be 2 or 3 months. Now I know that this is a complicated project, and it has been from the get-go. So I guess I'm just asking, I had asked to be kept informed. I know one of my residents spoke with you, and I know that there have been plans drawn up. I just have no idea what the status is, because again, on the report, the status report that you guys will have today, it says no change. She also brought to my attention the fact that 195 is now contractually established, has a contractually established width. And we had been asking that to stay a single-lane bridge. The roadway is very narrow going into that bridge, and I have no idea how you could expand the bridge to 2 lanes. Something else came up in our discussion last night about the lack, I guess, of certification or whatever you will call it, of Bridge 202 on Otts Road. And it seems, according to the report, that there has been PennDOT discovered in October that there were some issues. An arch needed to be repaired, and it says work is going to start on it ASAP, and that PennDOT had concerns about the riprap in the stream. Well, I just want to point out that when they repaired that bridge, they cut down all the trees around it and then just filled in with, the stone riprap. And if you want to protect a stream bank, you have to plant trees. That's the only thing that's going to work. And it's just the tree trunks have been left sitting there, and it's just not effective environmental policy to do that to the stream. So, with that all being said, I look forward to getting your update on where we stand.
All right. Thank you. Any other, seeing no other public comment, we shall move on to old business. Hey, Greg, bridge update.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Greg.
Morning.
Does everybody have a copy of the status report? Okay. There have been a few updates since our last meeting. One thing actually changed since we got the report on B, final construction plans. I received Bridge 143, and we approved the final construction plans. So that one's that'd be number 15. Regarding right-of-way, we have signed documents for 10 out of 31 parcels. Mike Amelie and Andrew Elliott have been diligently working on that, knocking on doors yesterday, so we're still actively trying to get all the easements signed. Regarding utilities, Mike and I have been coordinating with MedEd, Frontier, Verizon, and we've been getting a lot better. They've been getting back to us a lot quicker than they have in the past. So we have a good plan, I think, for all the utilities right now once the easements get signed. So I think we should. We're going to probably not see as much delays as we saw in 2018. Regarding milestone payments, the next milestone payment is due at the end of May. You can see in there for 4 additional bridges being built and 4 additional final design plans being submitted. Regarding construction, Bridge 143 started yesterday, and also they Bridge 202 was worked on as well yesterday too. And I guess I'll comment a little bit on Bridge 202. PennDOT had 2 comments that they caught during their routine inspections that they do. There was some riprap under the bridge that just got dislodged during a storm event. So Krieger went in to put the riprap back in yesterday, and as well as there was a little nick in the arch that they're fixing as well today too. So I'm expecting final acceptance will be this week on Bridge 202. Regarding the punch list items, I put in here a list of all the with the status of when we went to do the final walkthrough, substantially complete, since we talked about that at our last meeting. As of yesterday, all the punch list items they're actively working on them, as we received an email stating that they're working on them this week. And regarding upcoming schedule, Bridge 143 is the one that's being started right now, and that's a rehab. And that's in Moore Township on Glaze Road. So it's a stone masonry rehab. And that's all I have. Any questions?
I do on the milestone payment, Greg. The next milestone payment is in May.
Yes.
And what are they looking for? 4 bridges?
Yes, 4 more bridges complete, and 4 additional final design plans.
All right, so the 4 bridges, is that the upcoming schedule, the 4 bridges there, or is it other bridges?
Yeah, I mean, they gave us his schedule for the whole year.
Right, so once those bridges are complete, then they'll receive a milestone payment.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. I have no further questions. Greg or Charles, you make any comments? Or
No, everything has been proceeding in that regard as far as progress this year. Relatively well. There is a schedule in place. We were unable to meet this last week due to different people's scheduling, but nothing really has taken place other than we continue to work towards the finance issues on taking those bridges out. Benish is still in the process of gathering information to see where and what the appropriate number should be to make the recommendation to us before we accept them. Unlike Bridge 15, Meadows Run, which County Council had taken back and had accepted the price, we still don't have a mutually agreed upon price for the other bridges, so we are waiting until such time as Benish has the information they need to make a recommendation to us here on the GPA to accept or reject the numbers that are out there. So once we have all that addressed, I think we'll be able to move in some direction one way or another.
All right, thank you, Charles.
I have
Any
a
other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. How many bridges do we have total to be done? I mean, for the because I was in on it when we started it. We lost 1. So what was the total of bridges are supposed to be done?
We're still at 32 right
It's
now.
32, and then these good folks want 3 of them taken out.
There are
or
7
swapped.
we're discussing to remove beyond that.
7 we want to remove. How many are complete?
There's 7 complete right now.
Completely done, punch listed
Substantially
out,
complete.
paid for.
We have 1 that's final.
How many are
accepted.
done?
1 that's final accepted. 6 are substantially complete.
1 is final accepted, so we have 1 bridge done. Okay, so next month we'll have 7. We'll have 7 done, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Okay, and we're paying for 4 more that aren't done, but they're projected to be done sometime this year,
Well, it's projected to be done before end of May.
before May.
Yeah.
Okay,
When the
Before the next milestone payment.
right. Well, they better be done.
You have to have 4 complete, okay.
All right, so 32. We're taking 7 more out, hopefully. And okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Greg? Thank you, Greg.
Yep, 25 when we're done. I don't want you to do the math.
Yeah, I think, Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'd request a brief executive session for the purposes of potential litigation pursuant to our default rules.
Sure. All right, time right now is 8:40, so we'll go into executive session to discuss the default letter. Thank you. Greg gonna come? Greg's coming in? All right.
Affordable housing. Is it tomorrow? I don't know. I have to use my GPS to get there. Is it? Behind the old Gov Sporting Goods? I am not ready to go.
they just got the call?
Yeah, I did look at that. Yes, I did look at it.
It really is.
You're jumping there, kid.
You're out of order.
All right, time is 9:17, reconvening the GPA meeting.
Do they need to accept this? No, we don't need to accept it.
No, we do not. So 5.2 is the ethics statement of financial interest.
Wait, did you say why we,
Pardon?
did you say why we?
We
had
did
the
before we
executive
left.
We
session?
we
Oh, okay.
talked about before we left. So the ethics statements, I know Sarah emailed a link
Gotta get
out.
that done.
Could you please resend that to the new members of the GPA?
Is my transfer from council that I filled out while I was there, so you have it somewhere?
Nope.
No.
Has it?
That was last year.
That was last year. This is for this year's.
This year.
I thought I did one for this year already. Forget it. Disregard
Well,
it.
you're filling them out for calendar year 2018.
I got it.
Okay.
Send me one, please.
Actually, I need to go back to old business. I had a note here, so if I may. Last meeting, we had the county controllers present their independent report on P3 projects. John, did you have a chance to review that report?
I did. And I'm in concurrence with the report. I did, in fact, in the midst of the report, did have an interview with the controller's office and gave some input. I will point out that the report deals at this.
Is your mic on?
Okay. The report deals with matters that were paid, and just a reminder that we still have claims out there, substantial claims for matters that are unpaid, which we continue to have considerable questions about their accuracy and their validity. So this only covers a portion of concerns that we should have.
Okay. So it's ongoing, though, and
Yes.
okay, thank you. All right, new business. County request to return loan funds. Mark, can you walk us through this, please?
Sure. In your packet is a resolution, but there's also a letter from County Executive McClure identifying two pots of money. The first is the SIP revolving loan fund. Over the course of the last 4 years or so, the county provided table games funding to the GPA to establish a revolving loan fund. Included in your packet is the agreement, the cooperation agreement between the county and the General Purpose Authority that governs those funds. And within the agreement, the county is allowed to request those funds be returned, any unspent funds within the loan fund that hasn't been obligated to projects, and that is what they are doing for other projects. The other balance is for the loan, what showed up on our accounts as the Loan and Development Fund. This fund was established long before I've been with the county. My understanding is that it is the balance from a loan that the county made through the General Purpose Authority to the Weller Center. I think it was about $1 million, and the Weller Center repaid that, and $500,000 was then repaid back to the county, and then the other $500,000 stayed with the General Purpose Authority to create the Loan and Development Fund. Those funds have never been used in the 5 years that I've been with the General Purpose Authority. They're basically just sitting in that account, not in use, and that is the other pot of money the county is requesting be returned to them.
All right, have we, on the SIP, have we ever loaned out of that lately? We have?
So over the course of last year, we loaned out $350,000 to that. And if you look at on the balance sheet,
Yeah, was that Rising Tide?
so 300,000 was to the Rising Tide. There was $50,000 of what I'll call GPA money in there that came from unrestricted accounts, and then the $50,000 Kerrigan loan was made out of that.
Yes. Yeah, I do see that on the report. All right, any questions on that? I do see on the assets, you do have that listed, the GPA SIP and then the SVGPA L&D. The L&D then is the Weller Center loan, right?
Correct.
Okay. Any questions on that?
Nope. I would say the one thing based on the cooperation agreement that we will need to iron out with the county is what is the status of that $350 that was loaned out when it's repaid? Does that go back to the county? And within the cooperation agreement, it allows for to conclude that cooperation agreement. It allows for a closeout agreement. Did I just say that twice? Within the cooperation agreement, there's a provision that allows for a closeout agreement, which the closeout agreement governs loan funds that went out. Because if you look at the balance sheet, we have a 1.25 note payable to the county. The 1.25 note payable is the $500,000 loan and development fund and the full $750,000 of the SIP money, of which $350 has been loaned out.
Got it.
That make sense?
Sure. It would appear that we would just do the subtraction on the 1.25 from what is being returned now, and I would suspect that MOU would continue with those monies still there.
The original intent of the agreement was to establish a revolving loan fund that the GPA would loan money out. As that money gets repaid with interest or whatever, it would stay in a restricted account to be used for those purposes and loaned out again, and so that it would continue in perpetuity.
Okay. So in the future, if a group comes in front of us for a loan, where do we take that from then?
The General Purpose Authority has $1.5 million of cash that is essentially unrestricted. It's what you've accumulated from doing bond deals and things like that. So that could be where that money comes out of. One of the things that Ron and I discussed, the GPA has never really had a budget over the course of a given year, and that may be something we want to look at establishing. You know, if you have $1.4 million of cash, do you want to create a loan fund and try to do loans? Do you want to create a grant program and make grants? Like, we should probably budget those funds somehow.
Or we can maybe just, we'll do some follow-up, but perhaps just talk about a strategic plan. We could talk about, we have this 1.4 million. Do we want to put so much in reserve permanently? Do we want to have something that we do? So we work on a plan like that, and I think we'll come up with something that may
Right.
make sense.
Those unrestricted funds, though, that's also our expense account for pay our expenses.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's
Right.
why, just initially, we want to probably have a reserve permanently, I would think, to cover some expenses, and maybe
Sounds reasonable.
we'll work on it.
Okay. All right, a motion to accept the resolution.
Do you need the resolution read into
So,
the agenda?
so moved. It's not county council.
So moved. Second.
Thank you, Mr. Kraft. Any questions on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Charles.
You're welcome. As always.
Staff report.
The only thing I wanted to update you quickly on, and I haven't made a whole lot of progress, I am working on the RFP for the insurance services, and hopefully by next month I'll have a
The
draft.
insurance for the bridges?
Yes.
Yes, I'm trying to take a comprehensive look at kind of all of the GPA's insurance needs, that it would be included as one.
Would we be
Okay.
able to break that out, because you would have to pay from two different pots?
You could clearly identify what's, you would have to identify what's P3 related
Right.
versus what's ours, but I think you could RFP it once to.
Mark, before you send out the RFP, if could touch bases, I've got a lot of background in insurance, and there may be some things there that we are insuring ourselves unnecessarily.
That would be great. Yes, I'll take all the help that I can get, unless I want to stay at a Holiday Inn Express.
Thank you, John. All right, next meeting will be Tuesday, March 5th, 2019 at 8:15 a.m. Hearing no other business, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, thank you. No questions? Thank you.
Hey, I won't be here. I'll be in row of 10.
You can call in.
Yeah, I've taken those out of both now.
What a riot.
Boat.